Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video I'm going to show you how to do the ultimate mod on your Simpsons cab or your Turtles in Time cab. So right now I have the USB port plugged in, so that's going to show up, and then I was installing different APKs. When you install an APK, it's going to reset what your home app is going to be. So every time you install a new app, you're going to have to go back and set Nova as your default. I know I'm jumping ahead, but I just wanted to explain that warning that popped up. So if this is your first time doing the mod on your Simpsons or Turtles in Time cab, I'm going to show you the complete process. If you have already done it, I do recommend you factory reset because you do need enough storage to be able to install the Puzzle Bobble APK. And you have to have more than what is required or what's the size of the APK. So I think you need about 600 plus megabytes of storage available because it has to actually open and extract everything and install it and then run it. So it needs to have enough room. You can go through and delete the APKs or any apps you have installed and then do it that way, or you can do factory reset. Like I said, this is going to be the ultimate video. I'm going to show you how you do everything on it. I'm going to break it up in different parts. This first part, I'm going to show you how to do the basic install of APKs and do the setup of that with Nova and how to get your cab running. And then the next video, I'll go into RetroArch and Dig and the other options you can do if you want to go more advanced. All right, so depending on if you screwed in your back for the cabinet, you may need a screwdriver to unscrew it and take the back part off. I did not, so I can just pop mine off and on. So that part you may need. I'm gonna go ahead and switch over to what you need to complete this mod. You're probably not gonna need all of these. I'm just showing them just in case. So I have a USB hub. I have the wireless dongle for the keyboard and mouse combo. My other keyboard actually has a touchpad right here instead of the numbers. So it just depends on which one you have. I recommend one with one dongle. If you can use a keyboard and mouse that is separate, you're gonna need the hub, or you're gonna have to be switching back and forth. Micro SD card or USB drive. I recommend one of these if you have 3.0. These USB drives work a little bit better than an SD card. And a micro USB data cable if you're going to connect it to your computer, or just a regular power cable with a power block. And this is in case you get the percentage bug. Some of the Simpsons cabs will show like maybe 1% and then it'll shut off. So if you plug it in directly to power, that will prevent it. So that's all the items here. Of course, you need a computer or some device to download the files and put it on these SD card or USB drive. So I'm going to use the SD card to transfer the information, and I'm going to set up the USB drive to be the internal storage. Like I said, this works a little bit better than the SD card as internal. So let me go over to the cabinet itself. Okay, so you have the micro SD card, power cable for the marquee light, you got your Wi-Fi antenna connection here, you got your headphone jack here, USB drive here, USB ports, and then you have your micro USB port here, and then you have your power. And then if you're gonna connect directly to internet, you can connect it right here. So those are connections to the back of your monitor. This is your PCB. This is where you're gonna be putting everything in. So I'm gonna go ahead and plug in the USB hub and get started. So I already have my keyboard and mouse plugged in. I have my keyboard right here. To pull up your Android menu, you have to press the Windows key and in. So let me press those two. So you need to go to this little bar right here, the menu slider. You're gonna click and drag that down. And I really hate this menu. So actually let me go into Simpsons. All right, so this is probably what you're seeing if you have not done anything. This is the update. If you don't have the update, when you do a factory reset, bowling is grayed out. So then I recommend doing a factory reset and then updating this app. Or if you get the updated app online, you can just download and install that. So I'm gonna do Windows N, click and drag this bar down. Click this gear icon on the bottom right. Left click with the mouse. And if I'm going too fast, the great thing is you can slow down the speed on YouTube. You can also pause, rewind, play it at your own speed. I recommend watching this completely first and then having it playing while you're doing it. So I'm gonna scroll down to apps and notifications. This is to delete any additional apps that you may have installed if you don't want to do a factory reset. So I'm gonna scroll down, click on Turtles app, uninstall. Okay, so this is how you uninstall an app. So just gonna go through, click the app itself, click uninstall. Okay. If you want to go ahead and do a fresh restart, so I'm going to go back. I'll go down to systems, the very bottom, the last one. Advanced options. Reset options. Erase all data, factory reset. And this is going to erase everything from the internal storage. Any of this stuff will be erased. We're going to go ahead and do that to make sure we have enough room to install everything. I'm going to click erase all. And yes, erase all. So it is going to go through, it's going to reset. It's going to be pretty loud. Okay. So there it goes, it's erasing all the information it has on the cab. Now it's rebooting again, and now it's gonna play through. Once again, this pop-up is coming up because I have a USB peripheral connected. Once you disconnect your, let me turn down the volume. Whenever you disconnect the USB peripheral, your mouse, keyboard, whatever it is, that message will go away. So with that, I'm gonna install Nova and Button Mapper so that way I don't have to have a keyboard connected at all times to switch between games. So I'm just gonna click OK for now. I'm not gonna do the Wi-Fi update, but if you wanted to, do the update, now's the time to do it. Go ahead and connect to the Wi-Fi or connect directly, update it so that way you can get Simpsons Bowling activated. So now that I have this, I need to connect the USB drive or your SD card, whichever you're using to transfer the APKs, pictures, music, whatever you're gonna install. You wanna put it all on there. So I need to do Windows N again. Whenever you connect the device, it should pop up saying, what do you wanna do? I already have this connected, it's right here. If it's not showing up here, you can always scroll down, click the gear icon, go to storage. You should have it here as well. Then you can click these three dots, storage setting. And you can do format or format as internal. Right now, we're gonna do format. It's gonna change the file structure to what Android would read. If it's not readable right now, it's gonna add the folders and stuff like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on format. I'm gonna format SD card. All right, now that is ready. I'm gonna click done, I'm gonna click eject. Now it's ready to take out. The volume's still up, so I'm gonna turn that down. So now we have a little bit more than 50% of the storage in use already, just with the factory setup. So I'm gonna take out the USB drive. I'm gonna take out the micro SD card, put it in my computer, and transfer all the files. All right. Is there a micro SD on here? There it is. Pop that in. Okay, so now that I'm on my computer, let me go ahead and do screen record. All right, so now that I'm on, actually, let me do this. All right, so now that I'm on my computer, I'm going to insert the micro SD card. I have that here. Actually, that's the wrong one. Let me go ahead and eject that. All right, so now that I've entered the micro SD card, it is no name right here. If I open this, you're gonna have the Android folder structure. You can put everything in the root folder, or you can put it in one of these subfolders. That way you can keep it a little bit more organized. So here I have that. And now I need to get all my images, music files, anything like that that I'm going to be using, I'm going to have to put on this card. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my website. So it's valexv84.myportfolio.com. This is where you can get some of the wallpapers that I have available. Some of them I'm still working on. These are different icons. So this is a blank PNG right here. This is what you're gonna need if you wanna make your icons invisible. If you don't want them invisible, here's some other options. This is for the brick wallpaper. So depending on which APK you're installing, those are the different icons. We'll click on Arcade1Up to go back. And if I scroll down, here's the brick wall that I was talking about. And here, these, you can put these there, or you can use your other icons or the default ones. So depending on what system you're doing, here's the Konami multi-screen. So we're gonna be using this one on the advanced setup along with the Simpsons. For now, probably gonna be using one of these or this one. Let me see if this has all of them. And it looks like I don't have them all on here yet. So I need to work on that one. So here's all the different options. So depending on which one, if you want it with logos, without logos, so that way you can put the icons there. You can download whatever wallpaper you want. If you have any ideas or suggestions, feel free to hit me up if I have time. I don't mind making them. So yeah, so we just have to click on whichever wallpaper we're going to use. Save as. I'll right click to do save as. Go to no name, and I'll put them under pictures. There we go. And I'll go ahead and do the other one as well. Now I need to go back to icons and get the blank PNG. This is going to be a bit hard. There it is. All right, so I'm going to save that blank PNG here, rename that to blank. And there's that. So whatever else you want to put on your cabinet, go ahead and download, put everything on this SD card. So I need to do this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. Did I do that one? Nope. All right, so save this one. So we're going to do save this one. And then if you're going to keep the bowling, here's this one. I'll go ahead and set it up. I don't play bowling that much, so I may just have this APK hidden. You can't really delete it right now. You can go into ADB mode and do some advanced stuff. Don't recommend it if you don't know what you're doing. So I'm just going to leave it there. And here's this one. And actually need to go back and get RetroArch. And I may do settings on this one, I'm not sure. I'll go ahead and save it just in case. And actually this is the wrong one. Actually that might be the right one. All right, so now I have all the images. I need to get my APKs, so let me go ahead and transfer those over. All right, so here's some of my music that I have. You can get your music from any source, SoundCloud, YouTube, wherever you can get your music. So this one is Simpsons. I'm gonna do probably this one. Let me play this real fast. So that sounds like the default one. I'm gonna do the one for dubstep remix version. Let me see where that is. All right, so here's my other one. Let's see if it's this one. Nope. And actually, I don't think it's the dubstep. Yeah, so this is the one that I used. All right, so these are the two that I want. So I'm gonna drag these over, copy that. If there's anything else you want to copy over music-wise, you can go ahead and bring those over. You don't really need more than one unless you want a different loop of different songs. So the more you add, the longer your playlist will be before it goes back. So after that, I need the APKs. And I'll post the link where to download them below. All right, so here's the APKs. Here is Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. These are the short names if you are doing the Team Encoder Mystery Dawson mod that allows you to reprogram your different joysticks and buttons for RetroArch. By default, it only recognizes them all as one, so no matter which one you're playing, it's all one player. That TE fix will allow you to assign multiple players. I'm not gonna do that. Pretty much what you're gonna do is download it off their website. So pretty much what you're gonna do is go to Team Encoder website. This is the Mystery Dawson. You're gonna pretty much download this, extract it, and then you're gonna run it on your PC with the micro USB cable plugged in, and it pretty much is gonna tell you what to do. You just follow the instructions on that. I'll link a video from Technically Not a Technician if you wanna watch how to do that. But it's pretty simple. It's gonna tell you when to turn it on, turn it off. It's just gonna take a while. I don't plan to do that, so I don't need that. So I'm gonna go back to the different APKs. So here is the Turtles with different games. This is the Simpsons with different games. This is the default Simpsons to reinstall Bowling, Puzzle Bobble, Mercs, Ghouls. This is the installer pack, Contra, and Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. I'm gonna put those under downloads. I'm gonna select all these and drag them over. All right, so I also have these APKs here. This is Button Mapper, Dig for RetroArch, Macro Droid, Multiple Picture Wallpaper, Nova Launcher, and RetroArch. What I highly suggest you getting is at least Button Mapper and Nova. The rest are, well, these two is if you're gonna do RetroArch, which is gonna be another emulator, so you can add any games because these APKs are limited to certain games. I believe they've installed all the different options that we have available. So if there's games here, there's games missing that you want to play, your option is RetroArch. I really suggest you to kind of plan out what your plan is, because if you're going to do RetroArch, it's probably better just to go ahead and do all the games through there instead of these. These let you just install and natively play the joysticks like if this was CAB was meant with these games. Doesn't have Wi-Fi, doesn't have dip settings, and some other things are missing. So like I said, if you want to install a lot of games, I highly suggest you just do RetroArch and don't install these other APKs. But I'm gonna go ahead and show you how to do both. So with these here, I need to copy these over as well. There's also video wallpaper if you want to do that instead of pictures, and that way you can add your music there. I'm gonna just do multiple wall pictures, and I'm gonna use Macro Droid to do the music. And I believe that is everything I need. I have my wallpapers, I have my music, and I have my APKs. All right, so this is done. I need to eject, and I'm gonna put this into the cabinet now. I'm gonna go ahead and plug in the SD card and USB drive. All right, so I just connected the micro SD card and the USB drive into the cabinet. So once again, I need to go to the Android menu by pressing Windows N on the keyboard. Now I have to scroll down on the mouse. So the USB is plugged in here. I'm gonna set this up later. I'm gonna pull this down, click on the gear icon. So once again, if you have this saying 1% or like 2% or really low, I recommend connecting the micro SD cable, micro USB cable into a power outlet and connect it so that way the unit is powering, it's recharging and not gonna shut down. I need to go to apps and notifications. We're gonna see all or click on files. I'm gonna go ahead and see all just in case it's not showing up. Click on files, click on open. So it's ready, pulling up what media files I have on here. If it's not showing here, you're gonna click on the device that you installed all of the files on. So I'm gonna click on this. So I have my music here, I have my pictures here, and I have my APKs here. Once you're done installing, you don't have to keep your SD card here or USB drive connected. I'm gonna keep the music and pictures on it externally to not take up space on the actual device itself. So I'm gonna keep them on here. This is an extra SD card, I don't really need it. So I'm gonna keep it in the cab, keep these photos and music files on here, but I do need to install the APK. So I'm gonna click on downloads. Now this seems to be a problem with Mac OS. If you're doing Windows, you're not gonna run into this issue of duplicate ghost files. It has a ._. These are not real files. If I click on list view, if I scroll down, here's the real files. There's no characters before the name. I'm going to actually go by size. So Puzzle Bobble is the largest one. I'm gonna install from largest to smallest. I'm gonna double click on this. We're gonna click on continue and then install. So Contra and Mercs are vertical games and they are stretched currently. So if you don't like that, probably not install it. And once again, you can put those games through RetroArch and control the aspect ratio there. So this is done. Double click on RetroArch. I'm not gonna go through all the settings and all the options. I'm just gonna go ahead and install it for now. And part 2, I'll go through that. Or part 3, I'm not sure exactly how many videos I'm gonna split this out to. Hopefully just 2. Yes, we wanna give it access to storage folders. Done. So here is Ghouls. Continue, install. Done. This is to update bowling. So these two are pretty much the same, except this one has the images and music for Simpsons. This one has Turtles. Since I'm going to not install Simpsons, I'm not gonna play bowling on this cabinet. On the other one I will. So I'm just gonna install this version. If you want to keep bowling, or if you are on the Ninja Turtles arcade, you're gonna want to set up this one. So I'm gonna double click on that. Install. So these are the icons it's going to show when you put in a Nova. If you want to change those, you just need to get those images on here. We need Droid Installer. Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. Contra. This is going to be if you want to set it up to automatically play music while you're on your Nova launcher home screen. If you don't plan to do that, you don't need to install this one. This is for RetroArch. You can use RetroArch without it, just makes it cleaner front end. I'm gonna go ahead and give these permissions. Done. Here is Nova. Like I said, at the minimum, I recommend doing Nova, Button Mapper, and then whatever APK of the games you want. This allows you to make one of the buttons on your control deck go back to Nova to get out of the APKs. And this allows you to set up more than one wallpaper. This you do not need. You can just set up one wallpaper. All right, now that I have all the APKs installed that I want, if I go back, right click, right click, right click. If I go to storage, it should show that it's pretty full. Let me see, let me go back. So right now it's actually 87% full, or 87% used up. Now that I've installed all the APKs, I can go through, and you need to do Droid Installer first. So I'm gonna go back to apps, see all apps, and I'm gonna go ahead and set up button mapper so that way I can go back and forth easily. Open, give it permissions. You can either swipe, you can click and drag with your mouse, or you can just click the go right on joystick. We're gonna do open settings. You have to give it permissions, so we're gonna click on that. Or yes, we want to give it permissions. So what we need to do is add a button. We're gonna click add a button. And this is where you're gonna click on your control deck. Whatever button you click here is what you're gonna use later. I'm gonna click on the live. I know some people use player 4 select. You can use whatever button you want. So I'm clicking on live. Actually, I need to click on plus. Now I'm click on live. It added the button, click add. So now if I click on this, no thanks on the Pro, I need to customize what it does. So you can do a single tap, which we're not going to use because that's how you actually get out of the games within the APKs. Double tap or long press. This is up to you. I'm going to do double tap, and this is the action, what it's going to do whenever you do double tap. I'm going to make it go home. I'm going to right click to get out. Right click, that's set up. So now if I double click on live, it's gonna go home. I don't have home set up yet. So if I go down to use a different app, I'm using the keyboard arrows up and down to pull this up. We want Nova, and I'm passing it up back and forth. So we're gonna click on Nova, give it permissions. So this is the default Nova screen here. I'm gonna drag this up. I'm gonna leave icons at 125. I'm gonna keep them at that system. Now I need to turn off this stuff. And as you can see, the stuff disappeared here, just shortcuts to go to this. We're not gonna use that. I don't care about the weather or dates and the search bar. I'm gonna actually hide the search bar. And we're gonna put none. And I'm gonna click on the check mark. So now if I double click live, once again, I need to put always, but I'm just gonna do just once so I can show you how to do that. If I go to Nova settings, I scroll down, set default launcher right here in the home. You can click on that, and you're gonna click on Nova. Also, if I do, once you're in Nova, you don't have to do Windows N. You can still use Windows N to get to the menu. Or if you're on Nova, you click live. It'll pop up this menu, or you can also do Control Escape, and it'll pop up that menu. I think that's a lot easier to do than grabbing the menu. So I'm gonna click on settings. We're gonna go to apps and notifications. We're gonna see all. We're gonna scroll down to Nova. We're gonna click on advanced. And you can click here, home app, and you can reselect whichever one you want. Like I said, once you install APK after setting up Nova, you're gonna have to reset up Nova as your home app. So if I do Control Escape, system settings, Nova settings, widgets and wallpaper, I'm gonna go ahead and do wallpaper right now. Pick image. Now I need to go to my image folder, so they're on the SD card. Scroll down to pictures. And I want to see which one it is. So I'm I'm going to use this one for the demonstration. Set wallpaper. All right, so we're gonna do home screen lock. We don't really lock this device, so we don't need that. I'm gonna click and hold on that icon. It pops up this menu. I'm gonna remove it from here. If you're doing the settings screen, you can just drag that to the settings screen. I don't need a gallery, so I'm gonna click and hold, remove that there. So now I need to go to the Nova settings to set up the grid pattern to change where these APKs, the widgets go. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you how to set up the widgets. Control Escape, widgets. We're gonna click and hold this activity icon. I'm gonna put it right over this logo. So this is Puzzle Bobble. So I need to go to 1UP. Actually, I need to go down to Puzzle Bobble. We're gonna click on that and it's gonna give you the legal activity application. So there's that. It has the text, it has the icon. So this is why you have the option with the wallpaper with or without these logos. So you can use icons instead. I'm gonna use, you can also click and hold, pull up this menu screen, then click and drag this up. Click and hold. This is gonna be Contra. And they're a little bit off right now. I'll show you how to correct that. Let's go ahead and go through and install all the APKs, widgets. And I went to the wrong one. Widgets, click and hold. So this is the default, so I just need to do 1UP. And there's no icon, so if you downloaded the icon for Simpsons, you can install that there. And I did the Simpsons instead, so I'm just gonna put this here as an example. This would be actually the Turtles APK. I forgot that I did that. So once again, I'm just doing Control Escape on my keyboard. You can press the live button when you're on the Nova home screen. There's no way to turn that off. And that was Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, I think, right? Yep, all right. And then here's Retro. So you're gonna use RetroArch or Dig, depending on whichever one you're gonna use. So actually I need to go to Dig, and we're gonna do that as the front end. You have to set up RetroArch. Once again, I'm gonna do that in a separate video. So here are the icons. If you wanna change the image, just click and hold, edit. You can change the name, and then you click on this icon here to change the image. You're gonna go through Gallery Apps, Gallery, go ahead and go to your pictures. Here's a blank PNG. Click on Done. Now you have to turn off Reshape to make it invisible. Click on Done. So now that that icon is invisible. You can do that to all the rest if you want to do the logos. If you did those wallpaper without logos, you can keep the icons there. how to adjust it to make it more aligned with this. If you go to your Nova settings, so Control Escape, Nova settings, you're gonna go through here, and this is your grid. On the website, I have it listed by 4:9 is a good grid size. So let's go ahead and check that. I have, I think, padding auto. This is correct. We're not doing the dock, so I'm gonna turn that off. Actually, it's up here, turn off dock. I'll go back. So if you want to change your icon size, if you want to turn off the label so there's no text, you're gonna go here, right click to go back. We already turned this off, but if you didn't turn it off before, you can click on here and remove the search bar. Now, whenever you're done setting up Nova, if you want to save it, you can go here to Advanced. You can lock your layout so no one can make changes. And then we're going to go back. We're going to go down to Backup and Restore. And you can back it up. And what this does is remembers where you place the icons, your dock settings, your icon settings, the grid settings. It remembers all that. You do have to change the image back. So if you decide to maybe do one screen, then you can save that, and then later decide to go ahead and do multi-screen, and then you decide you want to go back, instead of having to reconfigure everything, you can go back to your backup here. Or if you decide to keep changing wallpapers and you may want to go back to a previous setting, you can save it here. So once again, this is where you set it up as what app is going to start whenever you start this cabinet up. I'm going to right click to go back. Now I'm going to click and drag these icons and hopefully get them in the right position. So that's pretty close. Let me see that. That's pretty close. And it looks like I lost some of these icons. So here's that one. Maybe padding is turned off. Let's try that. Done. Right click to go back. Yeah, so padding is off. 4:9. And I have to reset these up because I had them too far down and it pushed them out. Once again, on this one, I didn't set up Turtles, so I'm just going to use the full Simpsons. It's the exact same setups, except the artwork and music files and stuff is Simpsons instead of Turtles. So if you don't want to launch bowling and you just want this one, you can do that. And you can go to widgets for Dig. All right, so then I'll just click and hold each one, go through, change this image to invisible or the blank PNG. So once again, if you are missing these steps, you can rewind it and see how I set it up previously. I'm just running through these really fast. I'm just going to do the top row for now. You can get the idea. You can keep going to the bottom row if you want to make them invisible and use the logos. And there we go, the top row is done. So you select the logo or the icons depending on which wallpaper you have set up. And that is that. You have to go through each APK and give it permissions. I'm gonna go ahead and go to System Settings, go to Storage, 32 scan disk is the thumb drive. There's nothing here. I'm just making sure before I wipe this out. All right, so this is the thumb drive. It has USB right here. This is the micro SD card. With the thumb drive selected, I'm gonna click the 3 dots here and storage settings. I'm gonna format this one as internal. So during our test, USB drives have better success. As long as the newer one, I recommend getting a 3.0, something with relatively fast speeds. So far, we haven't seen any issues with USB. If you notice anything, feel free to report it to the group, Droidcade. We have Discord, we have Facebook. Hit us up and let us know. But we've had a few people test out USB and it seems to perform a lot better than using a micro SD card. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and move content. You want to keep this USB drive connected at all times, because if you turn it on and whatever content is moved over, it's not gonna work. So I'm gonna click on Move Content, and it's gonna move whatever files it can move off the main PCB storage and put it on this USB drive. It is taking a little while. All right, so that is done. So now if we go back, right click to go back, we now have 36 gigs available, and we're only using 5. We're actually only using 3 of our internal. Total is 5 out of 32. So I'm gonna go back. I need to go to Droid Installer, see all apps. And then this one you can delete after it's set up. You can't actually open it from here, so I need to go back to Nova. I'm just right clicking to go back, or you can do the jump button on your control deck to go back, or the B button. So I'm gonna do live. I'm gonna do widgets. I need to do one. This would be temporary. And Droid Installer. I'm gonna click and run this one. Give it permissions. Allows it to install the files to run certain games. Don't ask me again. Right, so if you're doing Puzzle Bobble, you need this one. It tells you right here. If I go to the right, this is for ghouls. This is for crime fighters and the Turtles or Simpsons APK. If you don't install this, it won't work. This is for that game. Ghouls, ghouls, and ghouls. So let's go ahead and install. Right here it tells you can delete this APK when done. So I'm just press attack, loading's done. Loading's done. All right, so after you're done installing all these, you can go back to your Nova screen. I'm gonna go to, click the live button. I'm gonna go to System Settings, Apps and Notifications, see all apps. We don't need this anymore, so I'm gonna click on Install. I definitely recommend you trying the apps before deleting that to make sure that the file was installed correctly, the patch. So now if I go to Simpsons, let's go test out to see if Crime Fighter works. And that one does work. So now if I click long press or double press live. I can go to Puzzle Bobble. This is another one that we had to install. I think I've only seen one person report that they had to do the Droid installer twice. And this one's working for me as well. So I'm double click on live. So you do need to, let me go back. Yes, we want to leave. You want to go back to this menu. If not, the music will keep playing in the background. So now I can press this one. I think the other one was this one. And it looked like that one shut down anyways. So Ghouls had some. Go ahead and start that one. Give it permissions. You have to do that only the first time. No Wi-Fi. Now, I believe the games that installed patches were in the back. So Life Force was one of them. And that one's working. So I'm gonna click live once. Yes, I want to leave. And then double click to get out of here. So that's how you set up the games. This one didn't have any, I don't believe this one had any. It was just those Puzzle Bobble, Ghouls, and TMT or Simpsons, depending on which one we want, whatever for Crime Fighters. So those are the patches that are required. I have all these installed and set up, and I have the USB drive for extra storage. Now, if this is all you want, you are done. This is what I recommend, the basic setup. Install whatever APKs you want, button mapper to easily go back to Nova with Nova set up as your home. If you want to go more advanced, it is the custom wallpapers, multi-screens, and setting up music. So let's go ahead and set up music right now. Control Escape, System Settings. We're gonna go to Apps and Notifications, and we're gonna go to Macro Droid. So when you see all apps, and when I'm clicking, it's always left click unless I'm trying to go back, then it's right click. Now if I go back, I need to go to Files, Open. I need to go to SD card, Downloads, and then Macro Droid. Continue, Install. And this one is going to work because it usually hangs up here and then puts it in. All right, so I need to go ahead and open this. We're going to give it permissions, so confirm. Once again, you can drag and swipe or use joystick to go right. Then click on the check mark on the bottom right. I don't need Pro. We're just gonna set up one for music. We're gonna click on Add Macro. And this is gonna be to play music. So we need to set it up where it's gonna start what action is gonna turn on or gonna go to Sonova to start the music. So we need to click on Triggers and Plus. So we need to go to Device Events and Device Boot. So this is when it turns on. If you don't put that on, the first time you launch and go to Nova, it's not gonna play it. It's when you ever return to Nova. So we need to go to Applications and then Application Launch. We want it to, whenever it starts, we're gonna select Application. We're gonna go down to Nova. Click OK. And it's gonna say we need to give this certain permissions. So go to where it says off and turn that on, allow. I'm doing right click, or you can click this arrow to go back. We don't need any of that stuff. We're gonna go ahead and turn on Nova just in case. Actually, no. So we have Nova, we have that, we have that. All right, so we're gonna go back, right click. So Nova is selected, do okay. So now this says whenever the device first turns on or you return to Nova, it opens it up. It will start whatever actions we put here. We're gonna click on plus. We're gonna go down to media, and you want it to play stop sound. We're gonna choose file. I'm gonna go ahead and turn on block next action. Click OK. Now we go to audio. It's gonna have the different sound, music that we have here. So depending on if you just want one, this is all you're gonna do. You're gonna double click on the icon, and here it is. And then you're done. Now, if you wanted to play different tracks, we're gonna go to plus, conditions and loops. We're gonna do continue loop. When you go back to actions, conditions and loop, repeat actions, and while condition repeats. So whenever, as long as you're still in Nova, it's gonna keep repeating. This, you can tell it to repeat 2, 3 times, 5 times, and then it'll stop. Or do once and repeat while condition. So the condition is, we're still in Nova. So we need to do device state, application running, okay. So I need to turn this on. Now I'm gonna right click to go back, and open. Now if I click it, we want it to be running in the foreground, not the background. So running in foreground, okay. And it is Nova, click okay. All right. So now it's saying while Nova is on, it's gonna play whatever is in this loop. So now I need to click and drag this. I need to reorganize. So we're gonna drag this inside, and then we're gonna drag this to the back. It's gonna tell it to play this, and whatever other songs we put here, it's gonna end the loop, and then it's gonna tell it to play again. So now if I go to plus, media, we're gonna play another song, choose file, block, okay. Click on audio again, and we want the Turtles remix. Once again, you can use any music that you want. Plus, media, play sound, block and choose file, and click on audio. And this is gonna be the arcade loop sound. Now I wanna say it had some other ones, so I may have to go back and transfer those. Double click on the icon. So now we have these 3 sound files gonna play. I need to reorganize them. Drag this inside the loop. Drag this one inside the loop. And we are done. So when the device starts or Nova is launched, so this is gonna be whenever you leave a game and go back to Nova, it will start. And this is when it first turns on. It's automatically gonna boot into Nova, so it doesn't recognize that. So you have to add this. It's gonna play these 3 tracks and continue looping while you're in Nova. And that is done. So we're gonna click on the bottom right plus and go through this little ad, I guess. Click on the X. So that one is set up. We're gonna go to add macro, but if you wanna see your list, you can click on your macros here, and we have 1. You can make categories if you're gonna do more. When I first did this, I had macro where it allowed me to go back, but Button Mapper works a little bit better. So I'm not gonna do any categories. I do need to do one to stop the music now. So we're gonna go back to home, add macro, and we're gonna name this one stop music. And we're gonna do trigger. We're gonna do application. We're gonna do application close. Okay. Select application. And we're gonna do Nova. Okay. Now we have to tell it what to do whenever Nova closes. We're gonna go down to media, play stop sound. We want to stop existing. Go ahead and click on block. I don't think I need it for here, but I'm just gonna keep it clicked. Click OK. And that one is done. So if I go to my macros, this will start it, and this will stop it whenever I leave Nova. This will start it whenever I turn on the system or go to Nova. So now if I turn up my sound, all right, if I double click live, I should go to home screen and the music should start. There we go. So like I said, you can do video wallpaper instead and have your music on the video, and you can have it animating or doing whatever you want. I'm just gonna do wallpapers. I'm not gonna do video wallpapers, at least not right now. I may do them in the future. But here we go. We have this set up. Now you have music playing, so it's not just a dead cabinet as far as sound goes. I know some people like to play videos and go into one of these APKs. I think you can set up macro after a certain amount of time of not playing. It can automatically go into one of these APKs. That way, at least you get the game footage playing. So there you go. All right, once again, the mouse is connected with the keyboard, so this is why this is popping up. I went ahead and restarted my machine. All right, so I went ahead and reset Nova to default, so I can show you how to do that real fast if you want to do that. So you're gonna go push the live button, Nova settings, and back up and restore, and just reset to default. So it's gonna erase whatever grid settings or any icons or anything like that and put it back to how it would be if you first open it, besides the image that it's selected. That's gonna stay. So I have this image selected. This is one, we had one wallpaper. Now I'm gonna change it to multiple wallpapers. So there's gonna be multiple screens. And when I go left or right, it's gonna switch the whole image, and there's gonna be one APK icon there. So I set up different graphics so that way there's a list of games showing instead of having this and you're not sure what games are in what. So let's go ahead and start with that. We're gonna go to live, or Control Escape, or Windows End, whichever way you prefer. You're gonna go to System Settings after that. So we're gonna go to Apps and Notifications. We're gonna see all apps. We're gonna scroll down to multiple picture wallpaper. Click on Open. All right, so it's gonna ask you if you're gonna give it permissions. So we're gonna click on Confirm. Now this part does rotate to the left. I'm not too worried about it. You can download another app to fix that. Someone mentioned that, but I'm only gonna be setting it up once or twice, and I'm not too worried, and I don't wanna be installing more APKs if I don't need to. So I believe I need 7, so I'm gonna go ahead and add more here. I'm using the mouse wheel to scroll up and down. I'm gonna click on the image here. This is gonna be the first screen. We're gonna select this, and here is the Simpsons that we're gonna use. Since I'm not doing bowling on this cab, I don't have to worry about the one with 2, and then the Turtles one separate. I'm just gonna keep it on this one. Number 2, let's go with Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. I'll go ahead and do Mercs. Contra. We're gonna do ghouls. This is Puzzle Bobble. Last one is RetroArch. If I wanted to add another one for settings, I could do that one, which would be this image here. Let me go ahead and just show you how to do that. You don't have to do this step if you don't want the extra one. And here are my 8, depending on what APKs you're installing. Maybe you don't need all 7, 8, or maybe you only need 4 if you're not gonna do Contra and Merc, since those are vertical games, it's stretched out. We're gonna click on this icon down here to set it as the wallpaper. And here's what it's gonna look like. Yes, we're gonna set it as wallpaper. Just on the home screen, these cabinets don't really go into lock, so we don't have to worry about that. So I'm gonna right click on the mouse to go back. Right click. I'm gonna go to Nova. I could also just double tap on live. Let me go ahead and do that, or you can click open since we're already here. Now this part is glitchy, so what you do is just live, Nova settings, then go back and it's fixed. All right, so now we need to add the icons for each game since I reset it, and I need to move these to the settings wallpaper since I went ahead and did that. So I'm gonna click and hold, or I can do live and go to widget, click, and now this part is tricky since it has multiple papers. It's not set up for multiple screens yet. So this first one is gonna be the Simpsons modified. Right. So I'm gonna click and hold to pull up this menu. Here are your different screens. So right now I only have one set up. We can click on the plus. I'm gonna go ahead and move. I'm clicking on the background to move the background to this one. Now I can click and hold this white area, and that allows me to add another screen. I'm gonna click and hold, so I need to do 8. And here's the home button. So if you want to change whichever one's gonna be first, you can do that there. So Simpsons is first. Click and drag, click and drag, click and drag, holding, click and drag, adding, holding, click and drag, adding. Let's see how many that is. So it looks like I still need to add another one because these images are not lined up. Click and hold. So maybe one more. Let's see, click and hold. All right, so it looks like it's set up properly. So I need to go to the first screen. Actually, let me go to the second. So I need to click on the middle one and drag the screen to the right. If you go too fast, it gets a little jerky like that. I believe this is the second one. So we're gonna click on this one. I'm gonna click the live button, add the widget. It's easier to do it this way. If you have them already set up before you do this and you try to drag them over, if you skip a frame and don't put a widget, it will delete it, so you have to re-add it. So if you just do it one by one, this way it's a little bit simpler. So I need to drag that over a little bit more. So it's not lining up, so I need to go back to my padding, click on live, Nova settings. I'm gonna turn off padding, done. And then I need to check my grid, 5x5 with sub on, that should be fine. Let me turn off labels. And then I'm gonna go back and make those invisible later. So here's Simpsons, it's lined up. Click and hold so I can go to the second screen. Click on that. Cadillacs and Dinosaurs is there. I'm gonna click and hold, drag. So this one is Mercs, so let me add that. Click the live button, widget. Click and hold the activity icon, drag it to where I want to place it. This is Mercs. Now you can place these anywhere. I like to place mine over the Arcade1Up logo. You can place it on the bottom, anywhere on the screen that you want. Click and hold, left click on the mouse, click this center screen, drag it over. So this is Contra, and this one is missing the logo, so I need to redo that one. So click and hold, drag screen. This is Ghouls. I went to the wrong one. Did it again. Widgets, click and hold on activity, drag it up here. This is Puzzle Bobble, live, widget, hold the activity, drag it over. Puzzle Bobble, click and hold. Here we're going to do Dig since we're using it as a front end. If you're not using Dig, you just will put RetroArch, live, widget, activity. Main activity. And then we have one more screen, click and hold. Drag it over. Here's the last screen for settings. This is where I would put macro, Nova, anything else over here. So I can go ahead and just add the widget here instead of dragging it all the way over. Scroll down. Say I wanted a shortcut to the multiple picture wallpaper. If you wanted to do macro droid, or if you plan to go back in that, you can add whatever shortcuts you want. So here we go. Once again, once your setup is the way you want it, you can lock it, you can back it up. So now if I go left and right, it's gonna go through each screen, and you can change that in Nova settings. So this is a white bar, you can do dots, or you can do none, but it's just letting you know what position you are in the different screens. So I'm gonna go ahead and click and hold that, delete that, click and hold, delete. All right, so we're set up. Now I can just click and hold on that, click on edit, click on the icon, image, gallery apps, gallery, on pictures, and then select my blank PNG. Turn off reshape, and I am done. So I can do that with the other screens, but this is the way I want it configured. So you can see what games are in this. I need to actually swap these two because in the Simpsons APK version, Simpsons is first, and then the Turtles is first. That's the only difference besides the graphics and the music. So let's go ahead and go through the APKs real fast and see what games are in there. So this one has 16. This one has 5. One of them was removed because it was actually a 3-button game. This one is 9, I believe. One game was removed because it was a 4-button game, but new games have been added. This one is Contra. This is 26 games. Some new ones have been added. This is Ghouls. This is 41 games. And I need to update the image. Let me see if I actually have it already on here. This is Puzzle Bobble. This one is 44 games. So that's a total of 157. If you're gonna add bowling back to it, then that's 158 games that you're gonna have on here. So I need to go back to multiple picture wallpaper and replace the Ghouls. Click on that one, click on pictures, and here it is. That's the correct one. All right, so if I back out, if I go over, you don't have to reset it. This is one thing with multiple picture wallpaper, you can't press the joystick really fast. You have to go slow and let it load. And there we go. So there's an issue with this image. Let me go ahead and see what it is. All right, it's fully loaded now, so I'm gonna set it. You don't have to, it's already set up for this, so I'm just gonna redo it. So if I go left, here we go. Now if I click and hold or click the live button, Nova settings, we can go look and feel. We're gonna go down to, I'm gonna turn off this notification bar. Sorry, my dog's over here. If I go back, I go to home, if I scroll down. So if I scroll down to page indicator, click on that. This allows me to select how it's gonna show on which page I am. So if you wanna turn that off, you just click on none. You can also change the color. And here we're done. So if you decide to add more apps, you can turn this on and automatically add the icon, but it could go on whatever page it's set up as. So I'm just gonna do it manually. So here's all the games. And now we have 157 games without going into emulation. Just directly start the game up and we're good to go. All right, so stay tuned for part 2 as I go into RetroArch and Dig. Oh, and if you like these videos, please subscribe, hit that like button, share, help me grow so I can keep providing more content. See y'all later.